We have a hearing today on Emerald Ash Borer, Hemlock Woolly Adelgid, and European large tanker quarantines that are being proposed to be expanded. Gary Fish, the state horticulturist. You can reach me at that number or by email. And we did have this advertised back in middle of August. This proposed expansion. So I'll start with Emerald Ash Borer. So Emerald Ash Borer has been under an emergency order, not a full quarantine, and included more area than the areas that we're proposing for quarantine. If we look at the proposal itself, in northern Maine in Aroostook County, we are proposing to add 2 townships, T16R8 and T16R9. To the existing quarantine because of a fine that was in Frenchville, I believe, that was a little bit too close to provide the buffer that we usually want, at least the 2-town buffer from the area that we expect to be potentially infested. And in southern Maine, we had recent fines. As we look at the map here, the orange and red shows the more recent fines during the last year that went from Cumberland County into Androscoggin, Kennebec, and Penobscot County, and then further north in Oxford County. And because of all those new fines, we're proposing to expand the quarantine to provide buffer around all those fines. We did add in Lincoln and Knox counties and all of Waldo County because we expect that the potential for spread in those counties is pretty high. So we included those in the proposed expansion. And, basically it's a lot of new towns. It's all of Androscoggin, Kennebec, Knox, Lincoln, Saginaw, and Waldo counties, plus 22 towns in southern Franklin County, 21 towns in southern Somerset County, 10 towns in southern Piscataquis County, and all but 7 northern towns in Oxford County, and 31 towns in southern Penobscot County. So it is a fairly large expansion, but it did exclude a number of towns that are in Franklin and Somerset counties, primarily because we've had some earlier discussions about it, and there was some concern about those areas, so we decided to minimize the area in those particular counties. And this is a little bit cleaner map that was just provided. It kind of shows the existing southern quarantine in purple and the proposed expansion in blue. So it is a pretty significant expansion. It also includes an exterior quarantine, so that includes all of the states and the counties that have established Emerald Ash Borer populations in them, and it also includes the Canadian provinces and the areas within those provinces that are considered to be infested. And this just shows the spread of EAB in the United States in 2023. You can see the purple counties and purple areas that are newly considered to be infested in the United States. So just to show the continued movement of the populations. The other thing that is being proposed to change in the Emerald Ash Borer quarantine is to only regulate green lumber that has bark, live edge, or wane, primarily because if it doesn't have that, then the potential for any kind of movement of Emerald Ash Borer is minimal. So we're kind of taking that out of the regulated articles. Shifting over to the Hemlock Woolly Adelgid quarantine expansion. There were 15 new detections in 22-23. You can see those in the kind of lavender color, and at least a couple of them were outside of the existing quarantine area. And many of them were right on the edge of that quarantine area. So we needed to add a number of towns to provide the buffers that we normally put in. It is expanding a little bit further than that, primarily because with climate change, we expect that this pest will continue to move inland and probably a little bit eastward as well. European large canker, another one that's been in place for a long time. It appears to be expanding west and inland. It may also be because of a little bit more monitoring and surveillance for it. We're starting to find it in new areas. And so the proposed area that you see in yellow is helping to put some buffers around the new vines. In purple, it also includes an area where there's been an eradication project going on for some time in Brunswick, where it has been found to actively be in trees that are on a golf course there. And so we're also expanding the quarantine proposal around in that area as well. So it does, it incorporates the Brunswick area plus buffer towns around it. European large canker was detected back in Brunswick way back in 2007. And they have been trying to eradicate it there. There's still some cankers that are being found, so it still needs to be an area that's under quarantine. So if you are interested in providing written comments, they need to be provided by September 22nd. And you can submit them to me at gary.fish@maine.gov.